Life with Lex. Today I'm going to be sharing about my journey of feeling perfection. And so I basically want to just really quickly just bring up how growing up, it's like our parents instill a lot in us as far as for who we need to be, how we need to act, what we need to do. Not just our parents, but also our environments and families and how that can affect us. And so I just want to share with you about my journey and pretty much how I have been through the ringer when it comes to trying to achieve perfection and failing miserably because it's not even possible. So here we go. So I am, a little about me, I am a firstborn. So I'm the firstborn child of my family. I have 3 younger siblings, all boys. I was the only girl. And so being like raised in my household, like my parents had very, I wouldn't say high expectations, but yeah, they had high expectations of me, especially because I was the oldest. So, you know, the mommy, helping with the brothers, you know, helping everything. Can you help me with this? Can you help me do that? You know, don't act that way because your brothers are acting crazy. I need you to be the good one, you know, things like that. And so I never realized it, but it's like little things like that winded up like seeping into the way that I saw myself with the expectations that I believed in how I needed to act all the time and how appropriate I always needed to be and you know how good I always needed to be, and it even ranked like kind of flowed in through with my family as well. Like my grandmother, still to this day, she always tells me like, oh my God, Alexis, I'm so proud of you. You always do everything great and you're so successful and you know all of these things. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm doing pretty well for myself right now, but it wasn't always like that. And for me, I always felt like I needed to always be perfect because the second that someone told me that I was doing something wrong or I was failing, I was like a wreck. I was a total wreck because to me it felt like I was just failing as a person, which is not real at all. So I was always a straight A student. I got all the straight A's. I was in the clubs. I was in the society, like National Honor Society. You know, I was always just, things came easy to me. Like things just came easy to me. I was that kid that was in school that would just like show up, do the work, fly by and like not learn. Like that was me. I was like, I already know how to finesse the system. Like I'm good. So when it came to even college was easy for me too. And so I had just always like had this expectation that like things are just gonna be easy. Like I'm just gonna be winning, you know, because it was like that with me growing up. You know, I didn't come from a bad childhood. My parents raised me amazing and, you know, I had all these things in my life where I felt like this is what it's supposed to look like. This is how you're supposed to be. You know, I was a leader in my youth group. And so even just that in itself, which is a whole nother story I'm gonna get into, that as well put a level of expectation on me because I was raised also in a very religious background in church where it's like, you know, you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't. You have to be the best person ever. You know what I mean? Like really like dumb shit that's not even real, all right? And so that just played into so many things that I expected not only from myself, but other people. That then ruined a lot of my friendships. It hurt my relationship a lot because I was placing a false expectation on people that I thought I was achieving myself, but I wasn't. And so I very quickly learned that perfection is bullshit, all right? It's bullshit. You can do your best that you can do, but you're never gonna be perfect. And what's amazing about it is that that's beautiful. Like the fact that you're not perfect is beautiful because that means that you have something special about you, a story about you, things that you're good at, things that you're not good at that makes you you, and that's beautiful. And so it took me a long time to learn that because again, everything was always easy for me. So really when things started to kind of crash and fall downhill was after I graduated and I moved down and I opened up my dance studio. I had no clue what I was getting into. Like I had no clue. I was pregnant. I was 6 months pregnant when I opened up my dance studio. It's a Latin dance studio. It was a lot of work. And my dad was like, hey, do you want to open up this dance studio? Because he had previously had studios that he was working with. And I was like, you know what, sure. Like, let's just go for it. Because I love dance. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Oh my God, let me tell you guys something. That was the biggest learning experience for me because number one, it taught me first how God's grace is endless. because no matter what financial struggle we were going through, no matter what was happening in my life, he was always taking care of me and my family, which I am so thankful for. But through that process, I went through a lot of failures. Like, I was failing a lot. My business was running, but I was failing a lot. I was missing things that I needed to do with my business. I was missing time with my family. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was crying like every other day. Like, I was going through it, and I felt like my life, after being so quote unquote perfect, was falling to like crumbles on the floor, like right in front of me. I'm like, it's falling. I'm not doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. My business is not being successful. I remember being home with Jamani, and this was like 2 years into the business, and we're home. I'm sitting there, and we come home to like a rent notice like on our door, like eviction if you don't pay your rent in like 4 days or 3 days or whatever. And that has never happened to me. That I felt was like the lowest point of my life. I was like, wait, I just got an eviction notice? Like, and nobody knows that, because obviously I'm not gonna tell people like, oh yeah, I just got an eviction notice, I'm about to get kicked out of my house. But we lived like that for like 4 or 5 months until we moved out and moved in with my mom pre-COVID. And so things like that, it was just reminders of like, I'm failing. And it's like, you know what? No. During that entire time, I wasn't failing, I was learning. God was allowing me to go through the journey that I was going through, to know that, yeah, things might have been easy at first, but I need him to continue to grow. I needed him to help me through that journey, to know that, no, I am not perfect, but he loves me imperfectly. And I needed to go through all of that to be where I am today, because now I have my townhouse. Now I have living very comfortably. Now I'm financially stable. Now things are growing, but I would have never appreciated this. I would have never taken this for what it needs to be unless I went through what I went through. And so this is where I just see, and I just show, and I'm very open and vulnerable, that listen, no matter what, it doesn't matter what your imperfections are. We need to embrace those imperfections. And when you start to embrace those imperfections, that's when you really start to see that, listen, anything available to me is possible, because I'm going to use my imperfections. I'm going to use the things that I have failed at in the past and use it to help me excel forward. And because I'm doing that, now life is so much better, because I can tell, and I don't have the stress of always having to be perfect. Like, I don't know about you, but like for me, to not always be stressing about having to have my hair perfectly, or my skin perfectly, or my body perfectly, or, you know, my finances perfectly, my marriage perfectly, my kids, my friendships, not having that stress to have that has given me a sense of freedom that I can literally just embrace the day now. Like, I literally embrace whatever God has for me for the day, because I'm like, God, you made me to be who I am, to go through what I've gone through, and I'm going to share that and embrace that. Because when you fail, it doesn't mean that you're just the worst imperfect person. When you fail, it means that you're on your way to being a better person. I don't believe that perfection is real. The only person in my eyes that's perfect is God. But I do believe that we can get pretty damn close if we really try to just embrace all that we are, embrace our mistakes, embrace everything that we have gone through, and share it and be open and use it to our advantage. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I really just wanted to share that, to just really embrace who you are, embrace your imperfections. You know, again, we are so blessed to have the life and everything that we have, and are like above us and below us and around us and everything. So how are you going to step into that, and how are you going to use that to your advantage this year is really what I'm as well focusing on. So thank you guys so much. I hope you loved it. Bye.